don't really get those chances. You don't get the chance to use these hero powers, and often, well, doing 2 damage to something doesn't actually make any difference. For instance, when you play against Handlock, when you play against Druid, it's just not really significant in a lot of cases. And that's why this role is filled by Auchenai Soul Priest. Auchenai Soul Priest pretty much gives you Shadow Form for the duration of the creature's alive, and it makes it really good because you can use your heal hero power, which often is the best thing in the late game. And when you need to do damage, you can do it momentarily. It's a high priority target because your opponent kind of doesn't want to deal with circle heal combos, all that other kind of crap, so they get rid of it. And it kind of fills that niche. That's why Shadow Form is kind of bad, especially constructed, because of the tempo of the game, and because you have, much better alternatives. However, in Arena, you don't always get Auchenai Soul. When you do, you're really happy. But Shadow Form seems to work a little bit better in Arena, in my opinion. I've seen it single-handedly win games, and it does so when played at the start of the game, and I mentioned that because in Arena, things kind of move a little bit more slowly. There aren't like too many combos. Basically everyone's playing creature-based decks unless you get, really, really lucky, or unlucky, I guess, in your Arena draft. So it does end up paying off because you don't usually die right away. You don't always need to heal to keep yourself in the game as the game progresses. It's a different type of gameplay. It's mostly creatures versus creatures, and everyone's got to have a lot of early game, a lot of mid game, so you set up for yourself to have a lot of targets. Now the problem is, and the problem that you see in the video behind me, that if you're facing an opponent who has a pretty good pair of creatures, you just can't keep up, because the 2 damage is not that significant, and when someone plays against Shadow Form, it's very easy to know that you're just supposed to rush the guy down. And Priest, especially in Arena, doesn't have that many answers in general. So losing all those turns that you would otherwise have from being able to heal yourself kind of creates problems. You're on a clock, you're facing tempo, and while your hero power is extremely good for a hero power, in terms of mana efficiency, not really the best. And I've seen this work though. I've seen this work where the Priest at the start of the game is already winning. Casting a Shadow Form at that point in the game pretty much guarantees the win. And I'm saying this when I've had like ridiculous Arena decks, and they get to like 8 or 9 wins or something like that. And usually a lot of the higher end Arena decks, they lack a little bit of 2 drops, and they make up for that with like board clears, that kind of stuff. Sometimes you miss like your 2 drop, you miss your 3 drop. If you miss your 2 drop, the Priest has a 2 drop, and you have a 3 drop that is challenged by you have a 3 drop that's challenged by the 2 drop of the Priest, which is also often the case. If they get a spot to Shadow Form, if you miss your 2 or your 3, they're going to be able to do that, and that's when you pretty much instantly lose the game. And it's a very interesting thing. It's happened to me a few times now, and it highlights the card that pretty much is an Auchenai that you can't get off the board. And when you're trying to win the game with Raptors and like Yetis and that kind of stuff, suddenly your Yeti dies to their Raptor, and your Raptor dies to nothing. And as you get through the game, the fact that the creatures which you usually built your Priest like around, like Temple Enforcers, high health, low attack creatures, they still also synergize with the new Shadow Form hero power, because, for instance, if you have like a Fen Creeper. Fen Creeper is a good Priest card because it has 6 health, it doesn't die to something right away, so you can heal it. But in the same regard, Fen Creeper is good into hero power, but you can't, because it suddenly has an attack range of 5, and it still probably doesn't die to whatever you're playing. So with Shadow Form, a Fen Creeper, you get it first, which is ridiculous. And as such, when it comes down to it, Shadow Form in Arena is really not that bad of a card. Certainly not as bad as some people may think, but it does require a pretty specific situation. Another downside of the card is that, well, if you're in top deck mode and you draw Shadow Form and you're low on health, usually the case with a Priest, you're pretty much screwed. And this is often the case in Arena, often you face mages, that kind of stuff, and that kind of flips around the advantage. So, as a Priest, you usually do very well against him. Both run out of cards, his hero power is a lot worse than yours. But when you get Shadow Form, even though that still remains to be the case, they're the ones who fireball. They're the ones who fire blast. If you're too low on life, both top deck, well, it doesn't really work very well. And this is also shared in Constructed, where when you reach late stages of the game, people are swinging with Ragnaroses and stuff like that, and the 2 damage type of stuff doesn't really make much of a difference. So, where is Shadow Form right now? It certainly doesn't really have a place in Constructed, as a lot of people know, but in Arena, it is worth trying. It's a very interesting card, and I hope it's not a card that will be forgotten once all these new ones are introduced, and every time you get a epic pick in Arena, you're pretty much never going to take Shadow Form. Well, I guess you'd always take it over Hungry Crab and that Pirate Cube. Cool card though. Hope you guys like my analysis, and I'll see you later.
Они даже не знают, что их убили.
Hey guys, how's it going? Crane here. So today Blizzard released 2 more cards out of the big Goblins vs. Gnomes expansion on the Heartstone, roughly about a month. And maybe came to my mind with these specific cards that I wanted to mention. First, go over the cool cards released. So the first one is Goblin Auto Barber. It's a 3-2 for 2 card and it gives your weapon +1 attack. And, looked at this card, I was pretty much surprised at how powerful it really is, because coming from an Arena perspective at the very least, Deadly Poison, in my opinion, is the best rogue card that you can get here. And this basically, it's half of the effect of Deadly Poison, but it's also Blood-Curdling Raptor, it's like nothing. And in Arena, because we got Pandas is pretty good. You can stack these effects and get some pretty cool stuff, and it just seems like a very, very powerful card that, in a way, changes it up completely. And I'll get to that again in a second. The other card is the Goblin Sapper. It's a 3 for 4, and if your opponent has 6 or more cards in hand, it's 4 attacks. So it's 6 for 3 mana. And that's pretty ridiculous value, but because it doesn't usually attack the turn it comes into play, what's usually going to happen is your opponent is going to drop their hand and trade into it for a discount. So if he has like a 4/3 creature, you drop a few cards and nail it down. And in some cases this is impossible, but in most, I feel this card isn't particularly good, at least not as good as some people make it seem. But it does have some really cool combo cards. For instance, a lot of people in Construction are running like the Math Warrior with the Warsong Commanders, and this is a great card for Warsong Commanders because if your opponent has 6 or more in hand, you slap into 6 for 3 mana, and you got the body on the board. 4 health puts it in a very nice position to get like a Shaman, but most Shamans don't run too many combo cards in hand, so it's kind of difficult to place it in the existing meta game in that high of a spot. But what's relevant is that it's 3 mana for 2/4, and thinking back originally when I was really looking into how valuable these cards were in Arena, specifically before Nax, you notice things like Unbound Elemental, it's 2/4, it's class specific, and even if you don't get any Overload card, it's still a really good creature. So it's 2/4. Kills a 2-drop for free, and then it stays alive, wow, that's so amazing. And kind of what I really want to talk about today is, with card games, they kind of go in phases. You have to understand that, the card pool has to expand, and I'm very thankful that it is, especially specifically, hopefully pretty soon. But as it does so, it makes some cards, some of the less desirable cards, even less desirable. For instance, like, Hunters versus Brand Rivercross. And actually, maybe about half a year ago, Priests actually ran Rivercross because, Priest was pretty strong at the time, and it was a 2/3 body. If you didn't have much in the way of money to spend on the game, but compensation them, like, the dark scale healer combo, you get the card with North Shire, that kind of stuff. So a little bit old school stuff, but my point is, these kinds of cards that are being introduced are just so much better that it seems like a lot of the cards are being phased out. And this type of phasing out is something that I think is pretty important to understand. So I've seen it happen in games. I've seen it happen. I didn't play too much, but I played a bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been basically a disaster. Every time there's a new set, the last set is pretty much gone. Like, this is at the beginning when the cards are first released. So I don't know, maybe these days it's a little bit different. And in Magic the Gathering, it was kind of the same principle, but it was a bit more gradual. So, over the years, we see cards of previous expansion blocks, pretty much all of them except, a very select few, be it just giant piece of crap. And, this might be something that might experience in Hearthstone, but I think the way that Blizzard is doing it is okay. I think because they're having a separate pack for these guys, at least for the players that are still playing the game, because you're going to use the same kind of dust, people are essentially going to buy only the new packs. In doing so, they get the more powerful cards, and out of the previous set, pretty much the 4 set plus max at this point, you'll be able to craft the few cards that you need with the dust that you have overflowing from the cards that you got from the packs of Goblins and Gnomes. And I think that works pretty well. This is something that I was a bit worried that would not work for Blizzard very well, because it's kind of a difficult thing to balance. On one end, you want things to be new, you want things to be exciting, you want them to be a little bit more powerful. I think out of the cards released, maybe they're a little bit too powerful, but we've only seen just very, very few. So there are going to be probably a lot of the same cards that we're going to see fairly soon to counterbalance that. But still, you want to see good enough cards for it to be new, exciting, fresh, you want to get it, but still, you don't want the old stuff to be completely phased out. And I think the balance is pretty good so far from what I've seen, and I'm not too worried that they're going to screw it up in Hearthstone, but still, at the same time, some of these cards, like the card announced, Goblin Auto Barber, for a rogue, this card in Arena is crazy. I mean, you're in Arena, you play cards like Assassin's Blade, believe it or not. And then, Goblin Auto Barber, your weapon from, a 3-4, suddenly in the 4 so, you get some pretty crazy value out of stuff. And when value is concerned, when Arena's concerned, well, you're going to see a lot less good cards, that's for sure. But I'm still looking forward to it. I think all of the good stuff that they're coming out, that they're releasing, that we're going to see pretty soon, is